All right, traders, this is Blake Morrow. You are listening to the Morning Edge webinar. I want to welcome you all back. Okay, so we're going to get started with our morning analysis, and let's get to it. So the euro dollar. Okay, so the euro dollar is going to be, as soon as we get there, and by the way, since I'm on the Aussie right here, well, quite a reversal candle. Nice wick, though. I think if we can get back down in the mid-30s, it should start to pull back a little bit here in the Aussie. I'll take it. I'll take it. All right, let's go over to the euro dollar, though, and let's figure out what's going on with the euro. So the euro just made a lower highs intraday. It's not really too significant until we post some lower lows intraday. This is a 15-minute chart. I just happened to be on it because of the Aussie we were looking at. But if you look at the euro and where we're at, okay, so yesterday I had this drawn out. I already pulled it off this morning because I just was doing some analysis and trying to figure out where this euro was going to go. So I removed it, but I'm going to put it back on from yesterday. So this is what I had drawn from yesterday. And what I was trying to do is I was trying to find a triangle that was symmetrical. And that's why I drew a trend line on these highs. Now, I personally wasn't too terribly excited about drawing that yesterday when I drew it, but it was the best I could find yesterday. I removed it this morning because I'm like, okay, obviously we broke that, but really how much further can we go? And I'm just trying to figure that out. Okay, and right now, if you look, and let's get rid of this one here. Okay, if you look at the most recent peak, now that's significant. I mean, if you talk about a whole month's worth of movement, okay, and let me grab my pen here. You got a whole month worth of a move. This high right here is obviously significant. That high is significant. Obviously, this low is significant. We made a higher low over here. So the question, that I'm kind of curious about is, well, how high are we going to rally here in the euro dollar? Because keep in mind the euro is squeezing against everything. I have euro. I just shorted some euro yen this morning. I'm long the euro Swiss. I'm long the euro pound. So I'm happy that the euro is squeezing to a certain extent because it is obviously impacting my dollar Swiss long. But I'm trying to figure out how far are we going to go here in the euro dollar, and I think 112. It seems very logical. It's a 618. It's also a spike high up here, so 112 seems like a doable target for the euro. So if you're, standing in front of the euro right now, I do think that there's a little bit more upside, and I do think that you're going to have to deal with a little bit more pain if you're shorting the euro right now. Okay. Now, if you take the high to low here. I was short the euro yesterday. I made a little bit of money on the short side of the euro, but I wouldn't mind shorting it again today. If we can get up to this 112, look, it's 127% extension. It's a spike high, okay? Got some confluence up there. Now, if you look at, here's the daily chart. Let's imagine, again, think symmetry in a consolidative pattern. Let's say we peak here. Would that be, and if we make it all the way up there, wouldn't that be a symmetrical move, right, from the more major top? So in the event that we make it up to 112, I think that's going to be a great place to be on the short side of the euro dollar today. The Greek gods may be speaking to you. Oh, I can't even do it this morning. Oh, the euro dollar got to 112 and looks like a good show. So I can't even do it this morning. I'm too tired to do it. All right, so anyway, resistance looks like 112 is going to be a pretty, that was really horrible, wasn't it? Yeah, it was bad. Okay, where's support? Where is support on the euro dollar? So this has obviously been a pretty aggressive move here in the euro, and so obviously we can stop short of 112. We don't have to get up here. I think we will get up here, but I don't think it's I don't think it's necessarily means that we have to. But if I'll tell you what, if we take out this upward sloping trend line here, that it will be a problem, because whether we do this first, then that, or if we just start doing this, you know, if this blue line's taken out, that's going to be a problem for anybody who's bullish intraday. Okay, so let's talk about that being support. So that's a 4-hour chart. Let's go over to the hourly. Excuse me 1 second. Choke something. Oh gosh, I got up so early this morning. It's just not even funny. Okay, so okay, this breakout point is 110.90, right? 110.90. So 110.90 is that breakout point, and let's just imagine it's going to take us a while to get down there. This is an hourly chart. Let's imagine it, let's imagine it all moving today. Well, maybe we can go to 110.90, maybe even a little lower, maybe to 110.70 by the time we get there, 75, 76. Think about that body right there. So I'm going to write down 110.75. It's an approximation, so I'm not going to put an asterisk there, but 110.75-ish, that's going to be good support, somewhere down there. Okay. Now, if we break those lows, if we break that trend line, that would be concerning. If you're playing the euro to the long side, be careful in the event that breaks. All right, let's go over to the cable. So I hate the pound. I've been short this thing for days, and now it's not even moving. It's like I shorted at the end of last week. I've been sitting in this small short position. I am down 100 pips. I'm short from down here 148, 154. Sorry, 154.88. And I've been sitting in it, and it's small, and like I told you guys yesterday, I don't want to add to it. I still think that the cable's bearish based on what happened at the end of last week, but obviously the pound's rallied back, and it's just been very frustrating. Even today's data, the pound's still supported. Why? And it's not because the pound's so strong, it's because the euro's up. So if the euro's higher, it's supporting the pound from going down. So if the euro actually rolls over and the euro, breaks back below 111, the pound's going to get killed, I think. I'm hoping. Anyway, so this support's obviously still holding too. You can see the spikes below 155.50 are not giving in. Now, we did have a better claimant count number overnight. We had a weaker wage growth number. So the wage average hourly earnings index came in 0.4% lower than expected. That's a pretty sizable miss. So again, the only reason why the cable is here right now is because of the euro. If it wasn't for the euro, the cable would be trading down here. But because the euro is squeezing, it's keeping that dollar downside pressure intact for the pound. But as long as we're below 156.20, and I know we wrote down that number yesterday, I think the potential for a nice little rug pull in the pound is quite high. Now, that doesn't mean that the bias is necessarily going to change. The bias in the pound, in my opinion, only changes below this yellow line. We break below that yellow line, and it's going to get ugly. Okay, but right now 156.20 and then 155.50. Very frustrating, and it has to break below 155.50 for me to add to my short. Why do I keep hitting that comma? Where's my period? There it is. Okay. So it has to break below there before I really add to my cable shorts. I really want to add to my cable shorts, by the way. I really do. But do you understand? Does anybody understand? Or let me ask you this: do you understand why I'm not adding to my pound shorts as much as I want to? Why I'm not? And if you don't, I'm going to explain it to you. The reason why I'm not adding to my cable shorts right now is because I'm worried that the euro will still squeeze to 112. If the euro squeezes to 112, there's a good chance that the pound can squeeze up to 156.20 again. As frustrating as that would be, but that is possible. So as much as I want to short the cable right now, and as bearish as I think it is, I still I'm not 100% convinced that the euro's not done squeezing. If I was convinced that the euro was done squeezing, I would be shorting the pound right now, but I'm not there yet. Does that make sense? Yes or no? Simple answer. Does that make sense to anybody? Everybody? Yay or nay? Yes or no? Okay. Okay. Yeah. So okay, good. I just want to make sure that you guys are kind of understanding my thought process. As bearish as I'm the pound, I really want to just lay into the cable and just get short like a bunch. And I'm short a little bit. It's more of a thorn in my side right now. But I just don't want to keep exposing myself to more short pound if the euro is going to continue to squeeze. Which again, I'm not 100% convinced that the euro is done. So let's talk about the Swissy. So let's talk about the Swissy and the Swissy tagging the 161% extension. I'll say it again. If the Swissy gets to the 161% extension of this range, if you're not long the dollar Swiss, that's probably the place that you want to be long. That comes in at 97.40. Okay. 97.40. It's going to be key support. And if we get down there, the dollar Swiss got to 97.40, and it looks like a good place for a long. I'm trying. It just ain't working. Just not working. Okay, so anyway, now any bounce back to 98 cents though, we are going to find some sellers now, because there's people like me that are long the Swiss that are now like, okay, maybe I should let some go when we get to 98 cents. There's going to be people, even though I've been buying it since down at 94 cents, I'm still like, well, if it gets back to 98 cents, 98.50, I'll probably let some go. I'll probably get out of some. How about the traders that were buying it yesterday at 99 cents? They didn't see my tweet that we're up against major resistance, and they're just like, getting long up here. Well, now they're just like, okay, if it bounces back, I just want to get out, right? So think about that. There are traders that are probably looking to get out on rallies. So 98 cents is going to be resistance. Okay, it is still bullish. And while we're above this 97, what is this breakout point here? While we're above 97.20, it's bullish. Okay, but look, we're heading down there. We're gonna try to tag it. It looks like we will. Okay, when we get down there, you guys got to look at it as being an opportunity. We might get down there here as I speak. We might actually dip below it too, just to get to that 97 20s. But somewhere around here, there's going to be buyers stepping in. All right, this is Swissy, and it's still bullish. I know it's come off a little bit, but it's still bullish. Now we break above 99 cents, that becomes very bullish. But that's not going to happen today. I mean, unless something crazy happens. I doubt it. Hey, what happened to crude? Did you guys see crude? Remember, there's 7-to-1 or 10-to-1 longs right now, somewhere in that neighborhood. Look at crude oil. Here, let me go grab the chart really quick. Oops, did I just get past that? Look at this crude oil chart. Just when you thought we were bottoming, bottom falls out of crude. Chris asks if I do weddings. Totally. You want me to come sing at your wedding? You got any friends that you don't really like? You want me to sing at their wedding? I'll be there. All right. Let's see. Let's go to Yeah, look at crude oil just getting demolished right now. Where the hell did that come from? That comes from way too many people trying to get long down here. I think that's what it's coming to. All right. What chart was I going to do? Oh, let's go to the yen. So I bought the dollar yen yesterday. I bought the dollar yen at my cost average was 124.85 maybe. I got out of it this morning at 124.50. So I bought this here. Um, so I bought at 124.80 yesterday. I bought it here. When it got to here, I bought a little bit more, so my cost average was like 24.85. This morning when I woke up, we were down here, like right here, and I said, no, thank you. I don't want to own that anymore. I'm like, usually the time, it's like the yen is a pretty good at doing this. Whenever I think that it's time to buy the dollar yen, it's usually the opposite time. Um, because I tend to be a better trader in the dollar yen to the short side than the long side at these levels. I don't know why. But anyway, see that mass reversal though? I mean, we hit a new high and then we reversed. It's obviously, going to weigh on the dollar, especially against the dollar, the dollar yen. So, and that could weigh on all the other yen pairs. We're heading towards pretty key support here. Key support is at 124. So, that false breakout here could very well lead to a break through support. So just keep that in mind. False breakout here could lead to a break down below 124. All right, so 124 is key today. 124. Now, like I said, I shorted some pound yen and euro yen earlier today, about 20 pips ago for each, and I'm sitting in those because, well, I like them. Anyway, 125 is going to be resistance again. We are in a range. Thought we were going to turn bullish yesterday, but just couldn't do it. Let's go over to the dollar Canadian. So the dollar Canadian, with crude oil falling again, question is, what's Canadian doing? And do you see how I drew this earlier? Remember, we were on air, and I'm like, earlier this morning before we did um, before we started analysis. We just broke the 618. We spiked down this channel resistance right here. That may very well be support. It looks like it's holding for now, and so that means that this spike low is very important for the dollar Canadian today. 129.70. 1.2970. That's going to be, that's going to be an important support for the dollar Canadian. Resistance. Watch the Swissy, guys. Swissy's trying to get down there. Resistance. Let's just imagine. I have to, put on my imagination cap that this spike low is the low. Okay. If we rally back to that spike right there, that's also a 38% retracement. So that means any rally back to 130.50 roughly is going to find some resistance. Now, I still think we're bullish, guys. Let's not ignore the fact. Whoops, it's not the chart I want. Let's not ignore the fact that we've got a really strong up move. All right, we're just pulling back today, obviously with this dollar weakness. But I'm not 100% convinced that the dollar Canadian's toast here, especially with crude oil coming down. All crude oil needs to do is break through 42, and the dollar Canadian will probably surge through 132. It'll do an about face and just rip, in my opinion. So the dollar Canadian, you just got to be really careful trading it on the short side while crude oil is so weak. Okay. But yeah, we'll see how it reacts back up at 130.50 if we get up there. Um, Kevin asked, so with crude dumping, why is in the dollar Canadian more buoyant? I think a lot of it has to do with, what I think are generally valid concerns regarding the Fed. The Fed, although I don't think China's that, me personally, I don't think China's that big of a deal. But because of China's actions, we do have to pay a little closer attention. And remember, if you go back a couple meetings ago, Janet Yellen mentioned two things. What did she mention? Greece and China. Obviously, China and their moves have been fairly aggressive, so we have to take that into consideration because the Fed is. All right. All right. When I get back, we're going to do the Kiwi, the Aussie, the dollar index. So don't go anywhere. Thank you all for being here this morning. I'll be right back. All right, traders, this is Blake Morrow. You are listening to the Morning Edge webinar. And by the way, the Aussie just hit brief new highs. Kiwi's right back up towards its highs too. And the euro is above 111.50. Swissy's approaching that 97.40 level. So just watch these prices around here. And like I said, I'm short the Aussie right at current levels. I'm down like 4 pips, and I'm down like 4 pips in the Kiwi. Not too worried about them at this very second, but I have to watch them very, very closely as we're obviously at some pretty critical levels. There's new highs on the Aussie again. I'm not going to stick around too long, so I got to watch them kind of closely. It's like my account's not really moving at all, P&L wise, even though I'm down a little bit in the Aussie and down a little bit in the Kiwi, because I'm also long the Aussie and Kiwi and on crosses. So, I don't really worry about it too terribly much. I just don't want to let these little scalp trades get away from me. Okay, but speaking of which, let's take a look at the Kiwi and the Aussie. So let's go over to the Kiwi. So the New Zealand dollar, all right, big daily candles. Now we have a lot of time left in today, so we got to also keep that in mind. Here's a downtrend line that we're currently dealing with. Now I guess I should take a step back and go into the longer term charts and show you why these are such important areas. So we have our double top completion. We have a big 618 on a weekly chart that comes in just below at 64 cents. So this is all really big support down here in the Aussie and Kiwi. And we already are very well aware of these levels. Wow, the Aussie's really spiking up here. We're all very, very well aware of these levels and these prices, but keep in mind that being on the short side here, it's a little daunting, and I have to admit, that's why there's small positions. I don't want to stick around too long, and we could get a bounce. I happen to be long I happen to be more long the Kiwi and the Aussie than anything. When I'm talking about my like Swiss pairs and the pound Aussie and pound New Zealand shorts. So I don't mind that they're rallying. I just don't want to make sure they don't get away too far away. All right, we're coming into this. We just broke this resistance. Let's take a look here. Also, I'm gonna keep that. I don't know how much I want to really stick around here. So really, resistance is going to come in here at 66.35. Okay, 66.35. What's the high here? 66.36. Yeah, so 66.35. Really critical resistance for the Kiwi. Like I said, the 66.35. The daily candles on both the Aussie and the Kiwi, they look very supportive. Okay, they really do. So let's see if they can finish the day like that. But that should be pretty good resistance. We are in a bearish trend, but I would say today, we've been in a bearish trend for, God, how long in the Kiwi? It's been a long time. We have the ability of turning more into a neutral stance today, depending on the close of the Kiwi. And that goes same for the Aussie. All right. Now, dips in the Kiwi are probably going to be very well supported down to here. All right. So 65.70 should give us some decent support. Like I said, if we come down here, I probably will end up covering somewhere around here, 65.70. Let's go over to the Aussie. All right, so here's the Aussie. Now, let's go out to the daily chart and let's delete this because this is not really relevant at this point. Actually, we have a downtrend line that will come into play, but it's not relevant at the moment. Big hammer on the daily chart, false breakdown below the lows overnight, which is creating a big squeeze in the Aussie. So today's candle is going to be really important. If it closes as a doji, I'm not going to be that excited about it. If we close up here, I might buy some more Aussie against other things. Like I might short some more pound Aussie. I might short some more. I might short the Euro Aussie. Those are possible trades to me later today. I don't know if I really want to trade the dollar on the short side, meaning buying the Aussie US dollar, but I don't mind being long the Aussie on crosses like I'm currently doing. So anyway, here is intraday. So intraday, take this high, take the high to the low. 618, 786 will come in around 73.90. We could probably just mark that up as 74 cents. Hold on really fast. Let's take a look at this. I guess that's why we have it there, isn't it? So let's write down 73.90 for now. But we have, just like the Kiwi, we have the ability of going from a very bearish trend to more of a neutral trend. And it's been a bearish trend and for a long time. But that false breakdown, depending on how we close today, could really shift it, in my opinion. All right, now hourly support. So let's say we get a drop back down to 73 and a quarter. Should have a good support down there. All right, let's go over to the dollar index. Okay, so here's the dollar index, and let's go over to a daily chart. So the dollar index is, and let's zoom in a bit. Let's get rid of this fib. So as you can see, we have a lot of horizontal support here in the dollar index. That horizontal support comes in at 96 and a quarter. Okay. Now any move back out to this trend line that was broken is going to be resistance. So that's 96 and a quarter and 97. So I'm going to write both those numbers down. Support 96.25, and I'm going to put an asterisk there because that's horizontal support and it's been there a couple of different times. 97 is resistance, and we are very much in a range as we've been for a while. Let's take a look at the peso and the Nordic currencies really quick just to get a glimpse of them. Oops. Okay, so here's the peso. False breakout of that triangle could lead to break down. So just keep that in mind. All right. So a false breakout here could lead to a bigger breakdown. I'm not going to mark up the peso because it's, I think it's a little too far from support. I'm not really too excited about trading it, even though I can't trade it. But I would say I wouldn't be too excited about trading it as we're in the middle of this channel. I think if we get closer to this lower end of this channel, it's going to be a good long. You know, obviously, if we had a rally back up here, I think it'd be a good short. But I don't, trading it in the middle of this upward sloping channel is pretty dangerous. Let's look at the Norwegian krona. Ooh, oh. So for those of you that can trade the Norwegian krona, question you got to ask yourself is, do you buy it here? Let me try something really quick while we're here. We're in between fibs. We're at 127% extension here. Huh. Yeah, if we don't stop here, if we don't get supported here soon, this Norwegian krona could get, you know, we could see a bounce here too. Food for thought. Okay. False breakout to the upside could lead to a nice breakdown. Let's go over to the Swedish krona. Swedish krona. Possible double top here. Broke that upward sloping trend line. You know, to me, you know what I'm going to do? I'm actually going to get out of my Aussie and Kiwi short. I don't think I want to be short those. I'm getting out of the Aussie and the Kiwi shorts. I don't want to be, like I said, I don't want to be short those. Just FYI. Okay. Just because I think the risk is that we get, you know, seeing these other currencies. I really don't want to be short them. I'm long, and I'll stay long on the other crosses. I just don't know if I really want to be on the short side of those. Okay. So just be careful there. Okay. I just took a, you know, few pip loss in those. I don't want to really be on the short side of those. Okay. Swedish krona. Be careful of this one though. This is a possible double top here. That actually looks pretty bearish on that, on the US dollar Swedish krona. I can't trade it, but if you can, keep it on the radar. Okay. US dollar Swiss franc, by the way, is at the 161% extension right now. So let's see if it's supported here. Should it have a divergent relative strength? We do. So we're almost going to tag that 97.38, which would be the 161% extension. Let's see if we can be supported. The euro and the pound look pretty bullish, though. They're bouncing. Well, the pound doesn't really. The pound's just kind of being drug up by the euro, but the euro looks pretty bouncy, back up to 112.